Good morning. I wish I had slept more. Hopefully we're not too loopy here. So I think we're feature complete on the timeline stuff. The main thing I've been noticing, then we go to do this, press play and it stops, and we can press play again and it wraps. So I think we're just to like 1 second off here or something. Okay, so that reset there. So that's not a clean start. Well, the numbers we need to know are. I wonder if it's a whole if it's a whole second different, then I can just see it in there. All right, 2:59:15, 2:59. Well, I can't see that. Well, I guess if we play here, 59:48. So yeah, that's a couple of seconds different. So now we have to track down how those two different things get set. All right, so is that the time we get? That is not the time we get without doing data. Oh, with the timeline already open, it's there. All right, so we're looking at a combination of what opening the timeline does and what fetching data does. This is going to be data layer, I think. Not lineage, data layer. We set data layer population player. We rebuild timelines. But at the model level, I think that only affects the timelines field. Because we only return timelines from here, so it can't change anything else. Maybe it's making the query, not getting the data. Which actually is, there's a cheesy way to test that. I just don't have the server answer. All right, 410. So it is not making the query. Data layer equals loading, population equals loading, fetch data for time. You're only a command, so you cannot directly manipulate the model. Do we have a model.time range at this point? I guess that's basically the same as this. our server didn't restart. Oh, yeah. It's no weird 4 minutes sometimes it doesn't start. It's at least trying this time. Okay, so we had a time range. We are at... Huh. Oop. Interesting. Ugh. Okay, 259.15. This didn't even go through this code path. No data layer. We actually need to have another argument here. Oh, did I not compile before, maybe? No, I've always been compiling. Let's see, I want this in view and I want stuff down here. 59.15. We didn't even hit this function. Right, because this is triggering daily review, not show command. All right, is that what we're actually hitting here? Are you just a URL? I guess you're just a URL. Check server loaded. This is the server stats itself. Really, I guess, really we're looking at this. Okay, so that triggered that. Data layer, loading, time mode, point color, point location. Leaflet, fetch daily review. Okay, so that's actually doing... This can only return commands. So we need to know now. It's going to come back on here. It's going to set that. It is a fetch data layer. But it's a direct call to fetch data layer. And you're not actually all that interesting, because you don't directly set any data. So we just want to check this is what's being called. But it's still where it comes back, and we weren't seeing it when it comes back. Yeah, we called that. This might be a range source data range. So rebuild timelines, I think only set the timeline. So this is looking like data layer population player. Set range for data? No. Set range for data is indeed happening. And there's map time. Pop.event range. Right. So the timeline is going off of... So this is going to be like our last population event. So what's timeline going off of? Range source. Rebuild time. Timelines ultimately ends up setting our time range? Make timelines. Okay, that's your inner range. Max time and min time. This is not index 0. Although it comes down to what we selected as the time range for that one. So we used to ask Leaflet what the range of the population data was and then set us to that. So we need to make sense of what you're doing. So the first one's going to be like arc. World. That's going to have, you don't set selections to make timelines from selections? That might be a separate process. Yeah, you're building the timelines from the ranges. There's timeline selections. So that only gets set by way of this, which builds the timelines. Timeline range, probably set time range. So we set 0, we set 1, that establishes this. We have an arc. So this is with this range. Fetch daily, well, that's jump time. Set range for data. We're hitting that. Maybe you're already inside that range? Well, I got bugs, gotta fix them. Alright, so event range. So that's going to be that, which is also going to be the thing that we should be setting time range to. Now this is going to be POSIX, which might not be super intuitive, but if they're different by about the right amount, maybe it'll make sense. Oops. Nope, the only way I know for sure we get this is if we do a clean slate. No, this is a map of an existing game where the dev publishes some data. All right, we did tweak the time. One 6. So 5-8 versus 1-5. So we cut it back. This is the end time of that range. So why is that not where our timeline stops? Oh, every time we call this, we set the model range, huh? And then rebuild timelines. Do you only get called from here? You do get exposed. You don't only get called from there. All right, so second question. what time is that? Did I have a thing in the view? Because that would tell us which of those times that is. Oh, right, because we refreshed. So the 5550 is the 15. Our timeline range ended up a little bit more than that. Positive stimulus string from int. I could convert the other display. What are you doing here? The time range of that should be the same as the selection. So that's the model range. So that's what we passed through here. We think it's going through this one. Okay. We went through here twice. And it's the second pass that bumps us up a little bit. Why do we go through here twice? Well, there's set range for data. That does get called, but it seems like it's okay. So now a consequence of something else. We've got time selection for time. That's an entire model. This doesn't necessarily have the right stuff we want here. Doesn't complain about it. This was not the exact workflow here. Okay, so it's already happened twice. Nothing happens when we open this. And it's not going through this code path. Oh, there's another one. And another one. I mean, that's a UI thing that really, those really shouldn't be happening. Oh, we still have leaflet data range messages? I thought I had switched those off. Well, because we can calculate it ourselves. Right? Oh, there's a bunch of these. Now this should be earlier on. No, you're... Calculate range. Yeah. Oh, because was I piping this through? Yeah, model. Oh, so that's an entire model. So I actually want to be in here. Well, set range for data. We knew it was getting called. All right, 1829 did not syntax out. Okay, so I thought it had worked and it had not worked. Guess I didn't hit save. Okay, you're a missing quote. Oh, even with the refresh, we actually, yeah, we see some drift. Actually, you're at 15. Oh, actually, maybe the refresh does work. Okay. So something different, something different, something different. We do our fetch data layer. Okay, so our population event range goes out to 555. We set the range for that. We do a set time range to the same, and then leaflet comes back. Good night. Thanks for dropping by. Be doing Noida when you wake up. And then we do in fact get a leaflet range. And why am I doing leaflet data range? I know there's a thing where we get the data range. Leaflet.data layer. We're sending that to you. So maybe there are situations where we don't do population ourselves? But this is setting population. So maybe I just never turned this off? False, false. Okay, so there are still times we do it. But we're calculating this ourselves now. And apparently slightly differently. Okay, so that's the same. So if we go into here, we're at 15, you're at 15. If we hit play, it wraps around. So all those debug logs need to go away now. You push need a parenthesis. So what we really want is D2 parenthesis. We had some stuff in model, maybe, yes. And we had this thing. Which I guess I should really just reset stuff now. No, notes. Calculating pop range. All right, so we had a bug list. We also had this order indeterminacy thing, which I guess I put here to make sure I saw it. That's a really hard one to do because we kind of, it's the kind of thing you only see on the first load of any session. And I guess I don't really need all this. I don't need this in data mode here. So when we're refreshing, we get span seeds. Did arcs get moved into like 17 or something? Or is that seeds? So arc list comes from fetch arcs, which it is called seeds URL. And this is the one where we did set up to switch the order on it. So when we're just sitting here refreshing, we get span seeds, and that gives us only 2 levels here. Oh, and okay, so that was 3. Now span seeds again. Well, this is like case in point for why this is weird. Okay. Okay, so the network load order is the same. Maybe the Elm order is not the same. Okay, so arc spans, we have 3. Arc spans. And now it doesn't oh, okay. Spans arcs. I think there's a way if you turn HTTP into tasks, you can say on both. I was trying to set it up so that if one file wasn't there, then and the other was, then things could continue on working. Okay, and there's span list. Okay. So why is it that's the error case? Okay, so if we get the arc list, we explicitly set timeline range 0. Explicitly, mind you. If we get this, we do set time range. So if I just did set time range with the arc range, I think we would kind of end up in the same place, maybe? Well, actually, reference. All right, so we need to spans arcs to see how that works out. And this is where I think we had the... So we want arcs to be a little bit faster, a little bit slower. Guess it doesn't need to be that much slower. Okay, so that is a different result. It selects the entire thing. Assign arc data time spans. Case R spans. So we're already doing stuff with spans. If they're there. All right, so set time range here is based on... If we only had arcs, the other way of doing it would be better. This is like if we have spans. That's based on last. Which is not necessarily what arc is using. I might need a function. So this sets servers, it sets current arc, set course arc. R spans is all of the spans. Assign data time. Oh no, this is a function. Data.assign arc data time. It's a list of spans. Okay, so this might be fudging it a little bit. Because like arcs can be defined by code events. It's hard to say when that actually hits the server. If that happens close to a span change, we tweak what we use for the map data lookup. I kind of want to say that we should just have a function that figures out what we want to do for timelines based on simply on the existence of spans and arcs in the model. It kind of tried to do exactly what we needed here, but the order indeterminacy means we just need to examine what data we have. So the last span, span list? Where do we use this then? Okay, so for the captured copies. And this is actually just going to use the span. And I think set time range ends up using arc underneath the hood. This is assigning the spans to the server. We're already getting spans for arc. Get server ID, maybe .map with default not available. So R is for remote data. Span list can assume it exists. So we can do something inside remote data to say, if to get the spans is straight up, last span is reverse head, that's getting the first. Maybe not super efficiently. Because in theory, list.reverse actually builds up a memory structure, which we don't need to do. So we have our remote spans. We can remote map that to list reverse list head. We could turn that into a maybe. We have a maybe arc that can get mapped to a range. But we do some sort of maybe operation that says, well, if we've got spans, we would preferentially do a set time range with that. Actually, that would be kind of conditional down here because we do set it a little differently. It's not just a different range. This was actually, well, we done anything else? Did some debugging. Timeline range 0. So we can get the maybe span range. We can get the arc range. The set time range. Just if there's a current arc. If time mode is arc range. Oh, right. So you do some switching there, but it's not based on whether or not spans exist. Arc list. So that is going to be a function of model. We want to conditionally do one thing or the other. I kind of want to have a big if block there. But I guess we're kind of making a function up here. Actually, and these are things that are our mapping model. All right, so maybe span. We're dealing with span stuff up here. Is our spans ooh. Maybe we go ahead and convert you to a maybe. Because then we can, and then there's a new maybe here. And it's an maybe span, so it's still a maybe. And then we have set timeline is if case Actually, I guess I need both of these. It might just figure that out. Oh, you know what? This is still a maybe. No, span list. So that's a maybe range. I guess that's we could have pre-mapped that here. Else we do that. Right, we converted that to maybe so that we could use the maybe end then. All right, and now we need to go make you slow again. I took out my modifiers for that. But that should be coming in later, and we still get the 3-step. All right, this was really kind of a bug. I just needed to make sure it was already in there. Load order effects on timeline setup. That might be true. Are we not loading them or are we not showing them? Where are you? We're not even loading them. Okay, we loaded them for another server. Oh, maybe it's under a, yeah, 1.json. Maybe it's under like a 17.json. Actually, yeah, public data monument. So we loaded these. The response has data. Now, I guess it's... Is it possible we haven't built any since the last reset? That seems crazy. Well... Oh, Did I... Okay, that's age, not timestamp. Okay, that's flip-flop age. I forget if we've had... Okay, well, yeah, that's seed unknown. This is seed known. So a map reset would change the seed. So 828. $826. Nobody's completed a monument. So if we go back, that could also be notable. Yep, okay. So that's just, I guess, like population's been too small, or did we go beyond the map here? No, you're beyond selection. We turned off notable, so nothing to go by, do we? Yeah, we just lost the map. Yeah, there's just no monuments. The other way to check that. Another way to check that. Ooh, okay. That's broken. All right, there are no actual changes there. No actual changes there. All right, so is this making it to the code? Oh, do I have to regenerate timelines for you? It's a server. Yes, I do. So there might be some other changes that would trigger that to update, but rebuild monuments, rebuild timelines. Okay. And then this is in this range where apparently nothing has happened. Yeah, it's actually just like a hard cutoff with the latest age. Hmm. So we have a secondary way into this. I'm going to have to be, well, we've got notable, I guess. So under snapshots, so I need to be more at this time scale. Because it would be in notable objects if they'd been made. There's an attempt. Yeah, I guess I just haven't succeeded. Okay. All right, so we fixed the flag. Right. So, is the problem with showing it? Or just that the layer is technically on? So with this, we're not getting problems. Wait. Uh-huh. Okay. So maybe it's when the data is already loaded? No. Okay, so you turned it off. Okay, so when these fail, we end up clearing it. If we've already turned that and done that and determined that it failed, we don't do anything with it. Which style sheet is this? I see some data files. Require notable objects. Notable objects received. Span data, data. Map notable locations to... Okay, so if we receive an error, we tell Leaflet to stop. So this must be require notable objects. Says, oh, it's an error. Remote data to maybe model objects. Maybe with default leaflet notable okay, there's a default leaflet notable objects nothing. Equals not requested, then fetch. Else. Wait. Span data with default nothing. Send it. Oh, map. All right, so you're visible. We're back to you. You would have failed. I probably should have. All right, so go to you. So failed. List 24. Okay, blank. We go back to here. There's your 24. We go back to here. We send this, and then we send the server update. So it is indeed a leaflet.notableObjects call. Okay, so that's explicitly blank. This is not necessarily explicitly blank. That's explicitly blank. Internals. So that's sent because it was received. That's sent because it was required. And we must have used the wrong span data? Model.selected server. Well, we haven't sent the server update yet, so it may not be updated. It's the server list. It's a span list. We're looking for change server, which I guess could be going through some other function. Set server update. Model.selected server. Add update. Does add update work in a way that it's in reverse order? No, even if these functions were in reverse order, we have to have set this before we get there. Maybe model.span data isn't updated yet. Set server update. Okay. Maybe we're actually fetching the span data here. That's the server update. So we have... This is a model.span data, right? Time selection for time. Require object search index. Span list. Received, 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 received. Notable objects received, so that's what was updated. Even if we're receiving it, that's still an asynchronous operation, though. Well, and then it's sending it to on receive. Scrub time. Time selection for time. You get called from select server, set server, you from require notable objects. You're using the span data. Where did I find that up? Okay, so the server has a update to require spans. Fetch spans. Notable objects are part of span data. If it's something else, we do nothing. So we have required these. This is a do nothing operation. The consequence of fetch spans is to execute span list, which update. Does not it directly do that? Yeah, the top level update of this thing. Well, your command none. We have maybe set time. Leaflet.current time, leaflet.current time. We have rebuild worlds. Now add update. Oh, you know what? Add an update can do both. So the set span update require span does not. Did you get commands? Oh, S2 command 2 set server update. So you're batching that. You also do require notable objects. I feel like this should maybe do the whatever would be the consequence of the spans happening. But we have this require notable objects thing down here, which does depend on span data. Remote data to maybe model.objects, model.selected server. Oh, model. Okay, so we're storing, right, we're storing span data in there. So it's not really valid to process that until we've gone and fetched span data. If span data was error, it would probably be safe to just send notable objects nothing. We could do that in the require span check. Span data itself is apparently, maybe because we're doing it in a model.map3, or maybe .map3. So we don't know if it was an error condition. We have that span data because we have not yet changed server. So maybe the update should be, we're doing server updates, not model updates. You know what? I've got a no data layer. Yeah, we've got this like has lives thing. So we're in a situation where all we can do is send a command and we need some way to say, yo, didn't happen. So this does that correctly. This that updates. Well, this is already updated in this case. What we really need to do is, wait, we're in a situation where we're sending commands. This is the only thing we really need to do. Except fetch notable object is going to come along later. Use the wrong span data. So it might be always sending the wrong data, and then when we actually fetch it, it comes along and fixes it. So objects received. This is probably updating it to the current timestamp. So set server update. Should you be calling that directly or counting on that to do something? That's the model level span data, which was there for convenience. And actually, do I even keep that at the server level? Because that's the model version of span data. So maybe the real answer here is if we set server, we have to clear span data because it's now for the wrong server. And this is going to update spans. All right, so normal case. We can do that. We can go into here, and I'm not sure what our time range is right now. We can go down into here. We can watch things processing. If we zoom out a bit, that might not, oop, that was a selection. Okay, we still see those changing. That clears. This does not come back to a situation with data. Is this the same ordering thing, though? Because it's processing that request with a nothing. So it's going to default. So this is really just a timing issue. Do all of these things require that? Euromap 2 over span data. These are just maybe less visible things. Euromap 3 over span data. And it's specifically during the server update that that kind of gets out of sync. And since that's stored in span data, time selection for time, this is pulling span for time from the current spans, which comes from like server data. Updating it, updating it, updating it. When a span list is received, so maybe that requires spans. Well, that's not on the model though. Maybe we need the no span data event. And then we either get that or we get the actual span. Well, then there's also the reloaded data event, which then we need to go through and once we've correctly switched the model span data, because it's definitely going to change here. Require notable objects. We updated span data. So we were calling require notable objects without updating span data, per se. So maybe I need to have like a function. We need to do all span data updates through a function, which then goes and does all of that other stuff. Because that's when we need to do that when we had changed spans, right? Right. So this wasn't quite working. Then all of this stuff would wait until we had done that. Okay, so you set a time range. You don't require that data. You are updating things in, updating in, updating in, updating in. Span list is replacing it and then doing all that stuff. You are this is updates for individual fields. You are replacing it and then updating all of that stuff. You are, time selection for time is looking a little sus here. Although maybe it's counting on downstream functions. Updating a field, updating a field, updating a field, updating a field, updating a field. Yeah, so we're really looking at span list to replace it and then do this stuff again. So we might need a no span list type thing to say nothing, and then if you call those functions, they'll do the appropriate things. Now, I guess if I'm in an error state, I could like pull the error out and resubmit it. I don't think I'd want that for error reporting purposes, though. Yeah, because this logs a fetch error. This is when we already know that it doesn't have data. And we don't have an error message to put there anyway. Dict.update, maybe .map, server. Wait. You know what? I might also need a already loaded message to then go do the that updates what is the current span data for this server. That's a model operation. And we're currently checking, or doing the require spans in the context of the server. Well, we call fetch while we're in the same operation. Our spans are either going to be loading, or they're going to be data, or they're going to be failed in some way. If it's loading, we should get a message back. If it's failed, we blank it. If it is data, we can just get it. So we have a definite server. We're doing this to the server, to the server, to the server, to the server. This is our original server. We're going to have the server... I mean, I guess loading would be roughly equivalent to not requested, but we should be doing some certain things here. So this comes down to, we set the span data for this, and then all of these things will just work. Span data equals case. What does this look like? Model. Spans is, okay, so this, we have a definite server. Spans is a remote data. So we have data spans becomes, there we have, I can't split this window. When we come back in, you're actually not a maybe. Oh, I guess I could two maybe it. Loading. We leave alone for now. Failed we want to clear. I guess not available. It really should have been, S2. So we know what it's doing. Failed is the particularly interesting case, because that's a definite nothing. Loading, we're waiting, we'll get an answer. Not requested should have turned into loading, but if we haven't requested it, then by this point, then we're never going to. And if it's not available, so if we turn this into a maybe, because span data is a maybe, then we would end up loading would end up nothing. We would turn span data into nothing during the loading window. So is this, if we change to a new server, actually nothing is probably an appropriate answer. If it's loading, then for most servers, there's not going to be anything there. So can we just remote data dot as maybe or two maybe? S2 dot spans. And then we have to either maybe map remote data dot map this. Oh, I have to select one. What does span list do? I only need to use the bookmark feature. mspan is right, all the span for time stuff. Model.map time over span for time. So that's not last span, that's span for time. Model.map time. This had a spans variable in context, though. So this is maybe map 2 over map time in spans. Oh no, spans is data. So down here, we were just remote data mapping to a maybe anyway. This was and then because we were reducing. Map 2. No, map 2 produces a value. And this produces a MS. Oh, maybe span, not milliseconds. All right, so maybe .map 2 kind of taking over for this. Span for time, data spans. Because it's a map 2, I want to be very clear about what the arguments are. All right, then what are you? You are indeed a maybe span, judging from this. Oh, you were an and then, so span for time probably returns a... Yeah, you return a maybe. We have to deal with two things here. Oh, and you were remote data. Maybe I just have to do a multi-state case. Because then you end up being maybe. Maybe we had the inputs and the result was maybe we found a span that fit that time window. So there's this way. I guess we could map to it. We could also map to it into a pair. Oh, you were at data anyway. So that's already remote data. It'll wash that stuff out. We were doing model.map time. All right, if you were a maybe, oh, is this a wrapping a maybe layer? This is putting in the default value. So that's going to be adjust adjust. And if this server has no span for that time, maybe we should just set it to nothing. It's not like this is a first load. All right, span for time. Data spans else nothing. So if we have data, we'll stick it in there. If not, we'll have nothing, which means that these things will not give us incorrect results. Okay. Big error message. Not that big. mspan values maybe span. Oh, we forgot to do the as span data map. So I guess in other situations happened here. We've already got a maybe chain up here though. Although maybe you're then maybe span data. And let's let the bottom of the window. All right, so the crux of this is we go to there, there's no span data. We come back to here, we do have it, we go back to here, and there is none. I guess I could have also just get reset that one. Data when switching servers, and we already found out that we don't have any. All right, tab switching on live search. Right, so if we, I don't know, somebody probably used it, did that, and we switch off the tab, we turn that off. However, if we, oh, okay. Maybe it's that we don't, if we do an object search, we're not turning off in other tabs. Although, is there a reason for that? We've got some other doors here, apparently. Are you part of the search? Yeah, you're part of the search. Huh. No, I don't think we really do anything directly related to display of that. I guess lives? Yeah, the live search isn't really affected by that either. Yeah. So when switching between these tabs, we don't turn this off in the same way that we turn this off. So this is really object search. I misremembered that. It was just related to that clearing feature. So that would mainly have been, did we get this one? Yes, we got that one. So I have to remember exactly what I was switching off there. So it would have to be, we actually would have to have something here. It would definitely have to be on these tabs. I forget if I did that as a single item or as individual items. Is there a tab? Okay, no, it's not called tab. Sidebar mode? It's sidebar search mode. Okay. Model sidebar equals own equals search. Leaflets. Okay, so that's search overlay. So we probably have something similar that is like the object search overlay. Okay, so there's a thing there called object search, which has to get turned on when we do a search, right? Update object search. There's no command there. Require object search index. You're not even a leaflet. You're not even in a command operation. Well, there has to be a point at which we've got data. Total matching objects equals IDs. Is there a thing that sends matching objects over? Require index. highlight objects. That might be it. Highlight objects command. Leaflet highlight objects. Swatches, images. And it might just be that we send blank lists. We actually did add and remove this. Object search is object overlay. If there's something we edit, I guess we were technically turning off the search and then we were able to turn it back on. So maybe that should be separate from the data. Which means we need to set up a whole leaflet integration thing for this. We've got search overlay, we have highlight objects. Yeah, this is only status, it's not... We have a separate thing for data. Maybe, is that just data layer? I don't think it's just data layer. Which means we need to do some renaming too. And it's called search overlay. Result points. The class name, I don't know if we need to deal with that right now. All right, and then leaflet interface. Leaflet.search overlay, and I might want to actually check if I'm using that term loosely elsewhere. Okay, that seems to be it. Okay, so toggling these, continue to toggle that, and oh, it's not tied to this anymore. Oh, because that's object search. So this would be, oh, maybe you just might not have a toggleable layer, because we kind of do this. You do. Oh, maybe that was intentional? Because you have an explicit layer. This kind of comes down to use cases, and I've forgotten that a little bit. Because we can do that. And I don't know why we're getting doors. Is this like an update? Okay, yeah, we had doors. Did I leave some hysteresis in there that messed up? What do you want to do with that? Oh, here's a test. What if we close this? Okay. I can see the reason for wanting to close this and continue searching. So that might be why that works that way. What I probably want to do is turn it off if we go to specifically to lives, so strictly based on this thing. So we'll still need a toggle. All right, so that is object overlay, which is just going to be generally highlighting objects in general. So I don't know if we need to call it search overlay. Focus point, focus placement, highlight objects. But we do want to have a remote control on turning it off if, oddly enough, it follows. It won't always follow directly from that. There might be cases we only want to turn off one of them. Object search overlay and object search overlay. Map UI. We currently have an implicit turn on from the object data. So it's display results. Would I ever? Would I ever separate those? You do indeed not have that automatic flip. So whenever we send that, it would turn on the layer, and then it would turn off. Now turn off if we switch to lives. So matching lives. This is not a server operation. So this was highlight objects. Okay, so you're sending a command. There's a list of things, and then you are breaking it down to the two lists. No, you're coming in from the model. Effective image objects. Default image objects. So I guess really it's swatch objects. So this is stored in the model. Maybe it's just a set of IDs. Yeah, we're kind of doing both. Okay, image objects, swatch objects. Maybe that's why I was doing the automatic flipping. Highlight objects command. So this is if we bootstrap some data in. Overlay visible. We would normally get live data from the server, so that wasn't an issue. Okay, so everything else is coming through here. Toggle matching object. Okay, that's your checkbox. So this means we're doing something with it. Toggle all objects means we're doing something with it. Lock object, we're doing something with it. Clear, that's just locked, so we're doing something with it. Toggle lock object, toggle icon display, update highlighted objects. So I think anything that goes through here would be sending that, which, let's see, we send this from our bootstrap, which isn't necessarily actually doing anything. Command.batch. Was it show? Or object search overlay? Okay, that's legal. All right, and live search overlay. We're doing things with lives. We're doing things with lives. This is a sidebar command. Open closed. This is just open closed. And we don't necessarily want to turn this off if we are just closing the sidebar, so it's not that one. Oh, we're sending this based on the status of this, and I guess we update that anytime we change a sidebar thing. So you were going to follow strictly from model.sidebar. Mode is equal to search objects. And it should only do this when you toggle it. Oh, search mode. Didn't get doors this time. And I think that this is, yeah, it's actually doing a visible toggle on that. So hopefully that's not too much automation. but it's definitely surprised me before. And you might have reasons to leave that up, so I'm not going to do as much. It was, well, I think it was specifically live search that seemed weird. Any debugging? All right, we left that in. Turn off object search overlay when switching to live search. After clicking lineage lookup. At least turn that off. So I guess this will be maybe a better way to do this. We don't know if any of these survived. Oh, that was the tree viewer. A couple of children. But the point is, oh, was it because I had already? Okay, so I'd already probably just, I was still in this mode. So maybe what we really need to do is say, if we do that, we need to not be in this mode. Can we do that? Because we kind of infer the modes. Okay. If we have data, if we're in a particular time mode, and we are in cause of death. So maybe lineage should have a different default. If you do lineage, everyone's the same color. Birth time and generation are going to be super similar. But they're going to be almost exactly similar. Select lineage, fetch lineage. All right, I left the model alone there. Maybe we could do this on if we get actual data back. Lineage lives. So we're doing model updates and differentiate with daily something. Okay, it's not generation color. View? Leaflet? Jane color. Using the internal term. I'm expecting to see an equal sign now. Oh, model.point color. All right, so we have data, so we're in that mode. We could actually do like, say something like that, and get your lineage, and then we're not in daily review mode, so if we go back to here and do that, we should go into daily review mode. So bugs, we should just be able to clear out, actually. All right, so I think this was a question, time window range graph. There were some open questions, but they'll open again if they're really important. Selecting daily review after switching to lineage lookup. All right, I've forgotten what that is. Zoom too large for visible. Oh. No, that still does lives. This is actually probably one of the ones I'd like. It could be a little challenging. We actually kind of solved this. And we kind of solved that. Oh, and there's the minor bugs. That might be interesting to work on. It'd be pretty nice for just kind of looking at what's going on. That's definitely not a today project, though. So that's a make sure tomorrow runs okay. And then I have to remember how I deploy this. Oh, and there's server, I commit all my server updates. There's server updates, so I have to let's see, the server still supports both formats. So I should be able to do that first. And if we ever add or remove fields, then this format is going to be less versatile there. So that'll be interesting. I'll have to do different version endpoints or something. Or MIME types is kind of what we're doing so far. But we can do the data server. And that shouldn't have like CDN rollout or anything. So we can test staging, and if that looks good, continue to roll out. But that's it for now. We kind of hit a nice breaking point. Let's see what's going on. All right, well, there's some other web dev. But thanks for watching. Thanks for support from all the subscribers. If you are looking for someplace cool to hang out, Finite Singularity is working on looks like a digital picture frame with Django and Vue. And that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.